All right. Good morning, everybody. Nikki Burnett here, Taste Life Nutrition. This is Taste Life Nutrition Radio, streaming live on KUHSdenver.com, where usually we like to have guests who are doing really cool things, but today is going to be a little bit different, and hoping to do this a little more regularly, because I really want to have more interaction and more meaningful conversations as best as possible. So, let me turn my music down just a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what we are doing. So, first off, Taste Life Nutrition Radio, we are here to do our best to bring you the best in what we know to be truth in health and wellness. There seems to be a lot of science out there that is not real science as of late, and so in my mind, we're working toward evidence-based and want to bring the truth when it comes to the best we can to physical, mental, emotional health, spiritual, financial, relational, all of the things that make a difference in our world and in our lives and in who we are and our ability to live this big, amazing gift of a life that God gave us. We all have really big things to do. And you know, what was interesting is as I was working through the show in my mind, what I had said, entitled it was, nutrition and genetics, and these are things that I love to talk about because it's amazing stuff. But, I talk about a lot also living this big life and living all of the, doing all the big things that we're here to do. But really so much of it is about the little things. It's the little things that really, really matter. And I think it's so important to take that into consideration, and I think that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. Because it all comes together, right? It all is sort of wrapped in a little bow to create this big life. And, what we know is when we don't feel well, when we're stressed, when we're frustrated, when our financial health is out of whack, when our relational health is out of whack, and of course when we don't feel good, those things affect us, and they affect our ability to live as fully as we were put here to live and make the impact on people that we were put here to impact. And so first, of course, we always start the show with gratitude. I'm grateful for and I've said this for the last 3 weeks, but it's really true, that this is really a beautiful, sacred time of year, and I'm grateful for Christ's sacrifice for all of us, and I'm grateful for the friends and the family who constantly work to build me up, and I think that's all of our jobs, is to build each other up. But I have people who are there to support me, my husband, my family, amazing friends. I talk about this a lot, but one of the important things that I think that we should do, that we should really try to focus on, is being really intentional about who we surround ourselves with, and who we surround ourselves by, and ensuring that when we surround ourselves with people who are lifting us up, of course we're doing the same, but that we're not allowing anyone to bring us down. And I think that it is really key to life, because when you're lifted, then you can lift more. So I'm grateful for this time of year, grateful for what this year has brought, right? This year, my word of the year was growth. And it was very broad. It was personal growth, spiritual growth, professional growth, all of these things. And I look back at the beginning of the year and the way that I came into the year, and honestly came into it a little bit out of fear, because of the 2 years prior to that were difficult, as we all know. And so this year is a very different mindset, and very intentionally a different mindset. This is not a year of going into fear. This is going into a year of as I told one of my coaches, this is going into just the year. This coming year is the year, and it's the year of impact as far as I'm concerned. And that is my word of the year next year is now, impact. And I hope to impact as many people as I can, and hopefully that just spreads. I hope that we all have a goal of making impact. And it goes back to just the little things. It's the little things that really matter. And so before I start getting too deep into this, I want to make sure that you know that you can ask questions. I have my personal Facebook page sitting in front of me, so hopefully if you have questions, you can get through that way. I have my glasses too, so I can see. But on my my business Facebook page, on Taste Life Nutrition Facebook page, that's where a lot of the questions, I have it up on the monitor. You can feel free to ask any questions that you like. I'll do the very best that I can to answer them and to have some fun and do this, I think, on a regular basis. I think it's good for me, and I want to, again, I really want to have bigger, broader conversations that hopefully will make bigger, broader impacts. I think that that's the important stuff. So I will keep a watch, and I hope you just put your questions in and let me know what you have. So with that, though, I want to talk about the little things, and I think about the little things in life that have literally changed the trajectory of my life. Because I was actually listening to a podcast a couple of nights ago, and it was a couple of high-level guys who were talking about how each person can make a difference. And what I see in practice, what I see with clients, what I see all around me, especially with people who are suffering and struggling with whatever it might be. Again, it can be mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, relational. All of the things are going to make an impact. All of the things are going to affect the other things. This isn't, physical health in a bubble. This is our spiritual health affects our physical health. Our mental health affects our physical health. Our physical health affects our mental and our emotional health. So it all comes together. It's a very holistic, beautiful little connected, all of these little connected circles that impact each other. And understanding that can help us to give us guidance, and then of course build our team to help us move into the direction that we want to move in our life. And so it was what I find in practice, see if I cannot lose my train of thought, what I find in practice that people are so often disempowered because they, for me, it's all, so much of it is about physical, mental, and emotional health, especially the physical health. But they come to me so often deflated, frustrated. They don't understand why their body is so angry with them. They don't understand why they hurt all the time. They don't understand why they are unable to move through life the way that they want to, why they can't accomplish the things in life that they want to accomplish because they hurt, or they're struggling, or they're fearful, or they have anxiety or depression, and all of these things. And yes, much of it can come from nutrient deficiencies, micronutrient deficiencies, toxicities, but we can also, we had a show where we were talking about our history, both our own history as well as our family history has an impact on who we are today, how we operate, how we view the world, and how we live our life. And understanding that and taking a step back and knowing that who you are and everything that you do and everything you say can and will have an impact on your life and on other people's lives. And I think it's really, really amazing. And so the small things for me, one of my favorite things is to look back and to see where you have the little God winks and you have the little things that have happened that have been in the moment, maybe very, very small, but literally changed everything about where you're going. and which is what happened to me. So I was thinking about this, and I wanted to give a little story because my trajectory changed in an instant, essentially, and I had no idea at the time. But I remember I had met a friend of mine, Michael, if you're watching, yes, this is about you. But this is interesting because we met at a networking meeting. We were just going to have coffee, and I was sort of making my way in the corporate world, and and enjoying it, and it was good. But I always, for my entire life, I've always studied nutrition. I've always been, that's a huge lie. Since grad school, I studied nutrition. I was interested in science, but I studied nutrition for whatever reason from the time I got out of grad school and on. And it was a love from the beginning of when I discovered it. I couldn't stop studying it. It just never stopped. So I met with my friend Michael, and I want to remind you, if you have questions, please post them in the Taste Life Nutrition Facebook page or in my personal Facebook page. I'm happy to answer any of the questions for you, to have a conversation. But anyway, back to the little things that matter. I had this conversation where my friend Michael says, we're having coffee and talking about health and wellness and where we are and where people are as far as health is concerned, and how frustrating it is, and how disconcerting it can be, and how much information that is out there. And I remember him saying to me, I'm going to go to nutrition school. And I remember this amazing amount of just awe and not jealousy, but you're just like, oh man, I wish I could do that. And literally my words to him were, that would be amazing. I would never have time to do that. And so then we went on with our conversation, but I remember that conversation so vividly, and it was a few months later that I was laid off. And I went around, just not happy with myself. I was frustrated, and finally took the time to take a step back and thought, this is my time. And had it not been for my conversation with Michael, it probably would have never entered my mind. I would have gone right back into corporate America. Now you wonder, had it not been for that conversation, would I have made my way into nutrition anyway? I was already on my way there because I studied it so much, but I didn't know, it wasn't front of mind. I didn't think it was something that I would ever be able to do. And that coffee conversation has brought me here. And then so many of these steps, I can think of, what actually brought me to radio. Goodness gracious, my friend Lowell, met him randomly through a friend who I met randomly. I was talking to my husband the other day, and it's like dripping. Just like they do in social media, just like we do in our campaigns. It's these little drip campaigns that we have on each other and that we have in our lives that move us in the direction that we're supposed to go. And sometimes they're big buckets of water, right? But really so much of it are these little drip campaigns. And I was on Lowell's show a few times, and it was just that drip, 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 till finally I was ready to make the move, and I was ready to get out of my comfort zone, and sit here and just talk to a bunch of cameras, and hopefully I'm talking to a bunch of people, and getting something out of this when I talk about my view on health, my view on lifestyle, and how important it is to understand the little things matter. So let's go back and talk about what little things do matter when it comes to our health and to what we do every single day. Because what I know is we do these little things we think don't matter. I can say, being on this show, to me, does it matter? Maybe. I hope so. When people come to me and say, yeah, I got this from your show, and it's huge. And I think, okay, this is what it's for. It's to hit people, it's to educate, it's to build up, it's to bring goodness, and also share the guests who I bring on, because they have so much goodness to share. That's what this is all about. and bringing that. It's empowering. It's empowering for my guests. It's empowering for people who figure out something from whatever it is that we're talking about their own health and about their own wellness and about their own abilities. And so, when we look at nutrition and lifestyle in the terms of genetics and epigenetics, and so if you've not joined me on the show before, then I want to just give a little explanation of epigenetics. If you've listened to me before, then you know what this is. But epigenetics is essentially locations on genes that have the ability to turn on and off and are the controllers of gene expression. And so when genes express, they can express in health, they can express in clear mind, they can express in lack of disease, or they can express in disease. They can express in anxiety and frustration and all of these things. And the thing that we need to remember when it comes to health and lifestyle is, again, it's the little things that matter. The little things add up to the big things and have the ability to create the health that we want or create the dishealth or dis-ease that we don't want. And so I hope that my goal is for that to be empowering, because epigenetics is empowering. Epigenetics is our lifestyle, it's our food, it's our stress levels, and our abilities to mitigate our stress levels and to keep them at a normal level. It's our toxic load, it's our ability to detoxify, it's our ability to help our body detoxify. That's in our hands. We have the ability to do things to support our liver function and our kidney function and our skin and all of these things that are detoxifying organs. Things that we can't control necessarily is what's in the air. But we can control what's in our home. We can control what we put on our skin. We can control the thoughts that are in our minds. And if we're getting to the point where we're not controlling the thought that's in our minds, maybe then there are some things that are problems with that. Maybe there's some nutrient deficiencies that aren't allowing the neurotransmitters to be produced properly, and so you have these thoughts that just they just circle around, one after the other, and they never stop. That happens to a lot of people. Could that be micronutrient deficiencies? Could it be toxicities? Could it be an inflammatory response to an infection that's going on? So many of these things are so important to keep in mind and to take to heart, because what we're often told, and where I think a lot of times the power has been taken from us, is when we go to a practitioner, whoever the practitioner is, and they don't listen the way that they should. We find this a lot in conventional medicine, and who do we blame for that? That they give us 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and it's only one concern that they can listen to, and then they have to move on to the next patient. Is it medicine? Is it insurance? Is it, what can it be? We've got an amazing amount of resources when it comes to health and wellness and when it comes to medical care, and our acute care is not surpassed. It is amazing, but we are failing with chronic care, and what we see is people are slipping through the cracks because it's difficult. A lot of times it's hard to take the time with patients due to whatever the reasons are to really dig, and that's where we come in as functional practitioners to look for the root cause, to dig for answers, and to, even if we can't find the exact answer or multiple answers, there are multiple things that are contributing to whatever the problem may be, then we can at least find where the imbalances are and start to bring balance to the body so that it has the ability to hopefully mitigate, eliminate the symptoms on its own. And that's what it needs. And so I want to remind one more time, so anybody who might be on Instagram, feel free to go to the Taste Life Nutrition Facebook page, where I'm answering any questions that you might have regarding health, regarding wellness, regarding anything that might be on your mind. I'm going to do my very best to answer the questions that you have and to just, sort of have a fun conversation. I would love for this to be interactive. And, here, as always, I'm here to be a resource. I'm here to be support in any way that I can. So feel free to reach out, answer any questions, or ask any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. But until that point, we're going to just continue to talk about things that I love to talk about, which is going to be impact and epigenetics. Those are the things that are really sort of front of mind for me these days. But then when we take a step back and we understand that the thoughts that we have can create stress, right? The thoughts that we have, if they're negative thoughts, they can create stress. Stress is then going to increase cortisol. And chronically elevated cortisol is going to create an inflammatory response. What's going to happen then? Well, who knows? A number of things can happen. We can end up with intestinal permeability. We can allow for pathogens to flourish, whether they're opportunistic or truly pathogenic. They can flourish. Stress can upset our microbiome. So many things that we do on a day-to-day basis that we can just take little tiny steps to mitigate and to allow for the body to balance. Another small thing that I think is really important and often missed because it's hard. We live in a fast world where everything is fast-paced. We live in a place where we have to go. Even if we're sitting on our computer all day, we're on Zoom all day, we have to go. So we have to eat between meetings. We're going. We're just constantly on the go. And what happens if we're eating in a place where we're stressed? So that is our sympathetic nervous system, is the stress. It's the I got things to do, I gotta go. It's the elevated cortisol levels. It's the constant fight or flight. Even if you're sitting behind your computer, your body is in fight or flight, probably, unless you're doing things to mitigate that. Prayer, meditation, getting away from the computer. I think the blue light can cause a lot of stress as well. But what we often do, we're finding ourselves, we grab food real quick, we're eating it on the run, we're eating it between meetings, we're not slowing down, we're on our computer, we're working, we're talking with people, we're on the TV or watching the TV. All of these things that don't allow our bodies to become calm and to move into that parasympathetic state that is the rest and digest. So what happens when we have these consistent elevated cortisol levels and we sit in fight or flight is all of our core blood, or much of our core blood, it goes to our extremities, because our body in fight or flight is like, I gotta go, I gotta move, I gotta be able to do things quickly, so it goes to our extremities. When we're in parasympathetic, then the blood goes to the core. It's nourishing, and it's allowing for the body to work properly. It's allowing for the pancreas to create digestive enzymes. It's allowing for them to then be broken down, and the body then to take up nutrients and allow them to be better utilized. So if we're constantly in fight or flight, our digestion is not going to work properly. Our detoxification is not going to work properly. We're not going to have the ability to move nutrients and to eliminate toxins and these things that are so important to what our body needs to function on a day-to-day basis. And so what I hope is that, one of the things to take away from today is to consider making your meals, or if you're not making them, pulling them out of the refrigerator, or if you go get them at Chipotle, whatever it is that you do, that you're taking the time to get away. You say your prayer over your meal, whatever it is that you say. You thank of course I thank God, I thank Christ, but you thank your farmers. I thank them as well, because without the farmers we don't have food. Without so much of our world today, we don't have food unless you're able to grow your own, which is awesome because then you know where it's coming from. But take the time to think about where the food is coming from. Take the time to think about what a gift it is, and smell it, and take small bites and taste it, and allow the body to come down, to be calm, to have the ability to move the blood to the core, we can rest and digest and be calm and clear the mind and allow for proper utilization of the nutrients. You know, I would go so far to say is that a lot of us are nutrient deficient, not because we're not eating good food, and not because we're eating bad food, but because we're not slowing down and eating. And so our body doesn't have the ability to utilize what it's taking in. Excuse me. And so, quick reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way. I know that this is the first time, and so if there are no questions, that's okay. But we're going to keep doing this because I do want to have more of an interactive, fun show occasionally. And again, my goal is to be a resource. I want to bring you people who are amazing, and I want to give resources to you so you can take them and utilize them or share them or whatever it is that you need to do, because my goal is to build, to uplift, and to have some fun, right? You know, life is about having fun, and you know, if we're not having fun, it's boring. So this is fun for me. It may not be fun for everybody, but I do love talking about health and nutrition and all of the important things that we have in our world, all that we have to do in our world to build each other up and to create a place of safety. I think a lot of so much of what's going on in the past couple of years has left people feeling unsafe, which is too bad. And I get that. You know, there are a lot of things going on where it's not safe. And so much of what we can do on a day-to-day basis with ourselves, again, going back to doing the small things and doing the little things that matter to us as individuals and then matter to those around us. Those are the small things that can make really, really big impacts. You know, we talk about a lot how, you know, God created us as energetic beings. And so often when we talk about, you know, we have energy around us and our energy affects other people, it sounds very woo-woo, but it's really not. You know, the evidence shows that our energies affect those around us, and those around us, their energy affects those around them, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so really taking the time to watch your own mindset and what you are saying to yourself and what you are putting out into the world literally can change the world. And so I talk about this a lot when it comes to Soulful Conception. You know, Soulful Conception is my new program launching mid-February, and it really is about taking the time to prepare for conception, for having that baby, making sure your body is in a place to where you have the ability, this is for men and for women, but you have the ability to be as healthy as possible so you can create, carry, deliver a healthy child who grows up into a healthy, productive adult who then passes on your genes, your epigenome, to generations to come. The data shows 7 generations. So what we can look at this in a couple of different ways. We can look at the epigenome historically, which is so amazing. But we know that looking back, you know, it's a lesson and it teaches us, but there's nothing that can be changed about it. So we don't want to harp on the past, but understanding why we do what we do based on our history is pretty big stuff. And this isn't my world. You know, I know people, I've had people on who, Joanna for one, who is an expert at helping people understand their history, their history, whether it's, you know, with their parents or with their grandparents or their great grandparents, whatever it is, and how that has brought them to today and affected how they react and act in certain situations or with family. One of the great examples that she gave me was that there are women out there who want to be moms, but they're not getting pregnant because they're afraid, and this is deep emotional stuff, but they're afraid they're going to be like their mom. So being able to get past that, working with somebody who can allow you, who can help you work through that to get past it, and then move into okay, now you're ready to get pregnant, you're healthy, you're symptom free, you've gotten past the mental and emotional stuff, and with all of that too, you're going to have much more healthy pregnancy, knowing that your stress or lack thereof is passed on to that child. Your anxiety or lack thereof is passed on to that child. Your neurotransmitters, all of these things are in your bloodstream, moving through your child and through your child's bloodstream. And so moving through pregnancy in a calm, positive, healthy, happy state can bring calm, positive, healthy, happy children. And it only brings, for the most part anyway, good, healthy epigenetic expression. And that's what we want. That's what we want to, and this is there was a study done, I don't remember, it's been several years ago now, but there was a study done where people were getting just, you know, fairly simple preconception care and planning for a period of time, and it showed that almost all of the negative outcomes that I don't need to go into right now, but we know what negative outcomes can be when it comes to getting pregnant, being pregnant, delivery, all of these things. Most of these negative outcomes were mitigated, and I say mitigated, they just didn't happen. And so this is the goal of preconception care and planning. This is the goal of Soulful Conception. It literally is to work on and work through mindset. It's to work on the physical health. We find that so many women, men too, so many women have autoimmune conditions that are impacting their ability to get pregnant. Some of them are undiagnosed, and it impacts their ability to get pregnant. And so if we have the time to take a step back, to allow the body to repair, to replete nutrients, to get rid of pathogens, to reduce antibody activity in these autoimmune conditions, the body is better able to work and focus on other things. So pregnancy is like the last most important thing, right? So we may think we want to get pregnant, but we have the men and women today who are struggling to get pregnant it's skyrocketing. There are lots and lots of factors that are involved in that, but you know, we can take a step back and prepare and work on symptoms, whether the symptoms are autoimmune or not, if it's gut health, if it's as simple as heartburn, if it's brain fog, if it's depression, anxiety, all of these things that are based around inflammation. But we still want to ask the question, why? Why are you inflamed? What's going on that's creating inflammation? What are the processes that are not functioning properly, that's not allowing the body then to function? So a symptom is depression, and a symptom is anxiety, a symptom is brain fog, a symptom is pain, a symptom is heartburn, a symptom is a full-on disease, because a disease is a cascade of symptoms, right? It's a whole bunch of symptoms together. And so we want to work on putting out that fire. When we put out that fire, we allow our body to balance, we're better able to get pregnant, and we're better able to have a full, healthy pregnancy, delivery that will again, I can't say this enough, because to me it's the most fascinating and amazing concept, that what I do today, what any of us as parents do today, I'm not a parent, but what any of us as parents do today literally will affect the many generations. We can control, we can create a healthy future. We can dig ourselves out of this place where we have depleted immune systems, and we're so many people on antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds and heartburn meds. I'm going to go into this because I think it's really important, and there's such a lack of understanding of what these are supposedly benign meds are doing to us. So, and I'm talking about your PPIs, your acid blockers, those things. So many people are dealing with heartburn and some kind of GI dysfunction. I know it can be really painful and really uncomfortable, and sometimes for a short period of time, maybe that's what you do to get it under control. But there are many things that we can do to get these under control, especially before it's eroded. Again, it goes back to digging for the root cause. We don't have what's called excess acid for no reason, just because. It's actually not excess acid. In almost every case, it's not enough acid. And so your body's not producing enough acid. And then what happens is you eat, and then you get this influx of acid, which is then it hurts and it's uncomfortable. And so then we take the PPIs and we take the antacids. And so there are a number of things that can go wrong with that. For one, know this: if you're taking a PPI, know this, that they are indicated, I think, at max like 2 weeks. I think I've heard there's some that say 6 weeks, but 2 weeks. We have people who are on PPIs for years and years and years. We have, Tums that's over the counter that people are taking for years and years and years. And it's fine that it's over the counter, but it's not benefiting us. It's not helping us. It's actually harming us. We have to have this acid in our bellies. We have to have an acidic environment to control pathogens, to break down food, to break down protein, in order for our bodies then to have the ability to break it down further with digestive enzymes, and then to utilize the nutrients within. And so if we are taking these PPIs and acid blockers that are not allowing our bodies to be acidic, our gut, it's higher up, but to be acidic, to break these things down, pathogens flourish. Our natural microbiome, or good healthy commensal bugs, they tend to become out of balance. They're too low, and our opportunistic and pathogenic bugs tend to grow out of control. There are things like H. pylori, who many say, and I believe to be true, that it is a natural, normal bug in our guts that is, it's supposed to be there. For some people it's there, it can be beneficial in, I don't even want to say moderation, I hate that term, moderation, but in small amounts, right? Same with yeast, candida. Women get yeast infections, that's candida. It can become a systemic inflammatory issue. It can go to our nasal passages, it can do all kinds of stuff. But it is a normal, natural type of yeast, type of bug, to our microbiome. But what can happen then, if our good, healthy commensal bugs are too low, these other microbes have the ability to flourish, and they create symptoms. And even there are some commensal bugs that if they're too high, then they can be a problem as well. So that goes back to, I'll get back to the PPIs, but it goes back to, how do we supplement? If we want to supplement, how do we supplement with probiotics? We don't always know. Now testing gives us really good insight, because we can look and see what bugs are there, what bugs are pathogenic and opportunistic that are out of balance, and what bugs need to be built up based on that person to help to bring balance to the microbiome. Testing is amazing for this stuff. And so it is an amazing guidance. It helps me. Testing is amazing in all cases. This is how I've built my practice, and it's how I practice always, because I test and I don't guess. So knowing, though, getting back to taking the acid blockers, getting back to the PPIs, not having that acid can allow for an influx of unhealthy bacteria, unhealthy bugs, unhealthy pathogens, worms, parasites to flourish, creating problems. I see parasites in people all the time. Labs are not great at picking up worms, but we can have worms and they can create lots of problems. And so taking that, taking a step back and not just popping the PPI. Oh, sorry. I'll finish my statement, but not just popping the PPI because you have some heartburn, but taking a step back and understanding why you're having issues with heartburn or any kind of GI dysfunction in the first place is really what's key. Very, very important to understand the why behind it, because there is a reason for it. There's always a reason. You may have to keep digging. That's why I tell you to build your team. There's always going to be a reason for it. But another problem is if you're not breaking down and utilizing your nutrients. Think about calcium. So know this. Calcium supplementation by itself is a problem. So I don't know, I say this a lot, and it's one of there are a lot of things that I just feel the need to say over and over again, because we're told by so many people, whether it's Dr. Google or our primary care practitioner or whoever it might be, just to go take a bunch of calcium and that's going to fix our whatever our problem is. If we're osteopenic, if we have osteoporosis, take your calcium. Our bones are not made up only of calcium. Our bones are made up of many, many minerals, trace minerals, and it needs cofactors. It needs all of its buddies, vitamin D, vitamin K, all of these things to put calcium into the right place. So I say this for a couple of reasons. PPIs are going to not allow for the absorption of your nutrients, which includes your minerals, your trace minerals, your calcium. And this, I think that a lot of what we see, a lot of why we're dealing with, in part, there are many factors to this, but why we see osteopenia and osteoporosis is because the crazy over-the-top use of PPIs and antacids. But then we have something like Tums, which has calcium added to it. And we're popping those, and we've got all of this calcium that we're taking, but we're also suppressing our acid, and so we have excess calcium. And so what does it do? It doesn't know where to go, so it goes and it sits in brain tissue, it sits in breast tissue, it sits in cardiovascular tissue, it sits in kidney tissue. And so this, calcium is used as, by the body, is it, for scabbing, right? So when we have occlusions in our veins and our arteries, when we have occlusions, then, a lot of it is due to calcium. The inflammatory process is the underlying cause, and then we have too much calcium at the same time. So, and the inflammatory process is key to understand. We have to keep the inflammation low in order to mitigate all symptoms. Inflammation is key to keep low. So we have to find out why there's an inflammatory process going on. We got to dig. We got to keep digging, and we got to keep doing the little things, right? It's all about doing the little things for you and for your body. So if it's, eating some more vegetables, pretty simple stuff. I get a little bit frustrated when we hear we're supposed to eat, 49 servings of fruits and vegetables. Yes, we're supposed to eat mostly plants. I fully believe that. I also fully believe that we are meat eaters. It's how we're built, how we're created. If we don't eat meat, then we are missing nutrients, and we weren't created to naturally just miss nutrients. We're supposed to get our nutrients through our food. And there are nutrients that we don't get if we are not eating meat. Now, I do work with some vegans, and that's totally fine too. Then we just supplement. But it's still, I'm always going to be as honest and as evidence-based as I possibly can when it comes to the truth about what creates health. and good healthy fat, good healthy protein from animals that have been grass-fed, that have been pasture-raised, that have been treated well, that have minimal amount of stress. All of these things are really important to us, because when we eat these good, healthy, clean animals, then we're eating good, healthy, clean. Our bodies are have the ability. We're taking in good, healthy, clean food, so our bodies are good and healthy and clean. If we're eating animals that are high in stress, cortisol, they're high in omega-6s, which are inflammatory fatty acids, low in anti-inflammatory fatty acids, then that's going to translate to us. We will literally be high in the omega-6 inflammatory fatty acids, and low in the omega-3 anti-inflammatory fatty acids, and low in conjugated linoleic acid, which helps with lean muscle mass. And if an animal is obese and inflamed, which is what conventional cattle are, then we're going to be oftentimes obese and inflamed. And so I want to say real quick, if anybody, if you have questions, then feel free to post them, and I'm sitting here watching and happy to answer any questions that you have. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep talking. But anyway, so the little things are eating good, healthy food, knowing what good, healthy food is. Don't get tripped up by marketing. Marketing it works really, really well. And so we have people who, are gluten-free, but they're still eating terrible food. We have people who are vegans who are still eating terrible food. We have those who are, there's so many diets, and I'm not a big fan of the word diet. I'm a big fan of lifestyle. I do believe in therapeutic diets. I think there are diets that are necessary for a period of time, depending on the situation. And so that's why when it comes to needs the little steps that they can take every day to bring them out of wherever it is that they are that's creating their issues and their problems. Again, goes back to, it's the little things that add up to the big things. It's going outside and taking a walk. It's going outside, not today, it's -13 outside. Or if you do, bundle up. But it's when it's summertime, or wherever it is that you are, if you're able to go out and walk in your grass, walk in the grass, get the energy from the earth. This is so, so important. Take the time to be still. So many of us don't take the time to be still. And when I'm talking to my clients, it's a practice. Being still is a practice. And literally everybody says, I can't, I don't know how, my mind moves too fast. I was one of those people. It's a practice. Your mind is supposed to move. Your mind is never going to be totally free and clear. It's always going to have something going on, but you focus. And so taking that time to step back, and I tell my clients 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, just to be still. If you want to do a guided meditation, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, and then you'll build from there. I've literally built up, I mean, there are people who will meditate for hours and hours, which I think is amazing. I am not comfortable with that at this point, but I'll, sometimes do 30 or 40 minutes. Sometimes I'll do 5 minutes. But I am making a very concerted effort to do it every single day, even on the weekends. Sometimes it's the weekend, I don't have to do what I typically do. So it's the weekend, I can eat whatever I want. It's the weekend, I don't have to meditate. It's the weekend, I don't have to, I can sleep in, which, yes, I sleep in a lot of times on the weekends. But sometimes when we have sleep issues, we need to keep a consistent sleep cycle, which is weekends as well, so we can get our normal sleep, so we can have that normal circadian rhythm. I also have been guilty of this, and many of us are. It's the weekend, I can drink as much as I want, or it's the holiday, I can drink as much as I want, I can eat as much as I want. Why do we want to be miserable? That's what I want to know, because I've been there. I can say it. I just go and I'll eat and I'll eat and I'll eat, and then I'm just like, oh, I feel terrible. I'm sluggish, I'm lethargic, or I drink too much and I feel terrible the next day. I'm not so much there anymore, thank goodness. It's it's not a fun place to be, and you finally, get to the place you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I have been there, and it's just about enjoying the weekends, enjoying the holidays, taking the time to appreciate, enjoy the life that you have, and nobody's perfect, right? You're going to make the decisions that maybe you shouldn't make because you want to. I have some friends who brought us these chocolate, what are they, chocolate, I don't know what they are. They're delicious. They're certainly not great for my body. And I've had a couple of them. And I'll have a bite, and then I'll leave, and the next day I'll have another bite because they're big. I mean, they're big. But it really is about just taking that step back and saying, you know what, I just want to live as big and as healthfully for as long as I have here. We don't know how long we have here. We know while we're here, at least I know while I'm here, I want it to be as impactful and as big and as fun and as creative as I can possibly make it. I want to do big things, and I want other people to do big things, and so in order to do that, I've got to be at the top. I've got to be at the top of my game, and I think that all of us do. And sometimes, though, we just need a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance to figure out what that looks like. Sometimes we need help digging out of a hole. And I say that because I experience it with clients who it's so often you find there's a spiral, right? It started with one thing, and then it spirals and it spirals and it spirals and it spirals and it spirals, and you don't know where to start. You don't know how to dig yourself out of it. That happens, but that's why I say just find your team. Find your people who you trust, who can help you figure out what it is, what the root cause is, even if it's mental and emotional, if it's physical, if there's a root cause to your financial frustrations, if there's a root cause to your relational frustrations. It really is about digging into the data, digging into yourself, and asking for help. So often it's just as simple as asking for help. Find people who you trust. Surround yourself with people who are there to help, to guide you, to build you up, who are smarter than you. Man, I'm surrounded by so many smart people. Really, that's kind of my thing too, is find people and surround yourself with people who are a lot smarter than you are. I do that. I get a lot of smart people around me, and I love it. And I take it and continue to build off of it and grow from it. And I think it's important. It also kind of it humbles you a little bit, which is a good thing as well. So anyway, the little things matter. And I hope that you take that away from this, that the little things matter. The little things matter today, and the little things matter for 7 generations to come. The little things matter for the people who you're around, the things you say, the things that you feel, the things that you experience. They all matter, and they're impactful to the people who are around you. So if you ever have that feeling that what I do doesn't matter, what I say doesn't matter, know that it does. And know that even if you don't know it, and that's the hard thing too, is so often we don't know it. The fun thing when I was talking about my early on experience with my friend Michael, is we're still friends, and we can talk about this story about where I was when I was sort of in corporate America and just studying nutrition just because I wanted to study nutrition, and to where I am now, to where I am more of an expert. Always have so much more to learn. I'm always wanting to learn and reading and doing conferences and trying to educate myself, and again surrounding myself with smart people. But he knows the impact that he made, which I think is really important. but we don't often know the impact that we make. And taking the time to think about what you say and think about what you do, and really pushing yourself and others to be the best that they can be. And when they don't feel well, pushing them and guiding them to find the people who can help them feel well. We're in a place, I believe, that it's not that we only have up, because we can continue to go pretty far down with the way things are going. We could have a tough few years ahead of us, and I am fully aware of that. But having a mindset and an outlook that is, positive and of service, I think is what is needed right now, in my mind. And I'm not here, trying to preach. It's just what I think is what I'm trying to do, and when I talk to others, when I'm, networking with my my friends, my lady friends, and my, mixed sex friends, and all of those things, it's really, what can we do? How can we uplift? How can we be of service? And how can we make the most impact possible to change the trajectory of health in all of the ways that we are healthy or lacking thereof. So anyway, I am grateful for all of you, grateful for those of you who joined. I appreciate so much the ability to have a platform like this to talk about the things that I think are important, to have a conversation. We're going to do more of these where we're going to have people, we're going to allow for questions to be asked, so I can answer as many questions as I can. Again, my goal is always to be of service to all of you. You can find me in all of the places at tastelifenutrition.com. On my website, you can fill out a form. It's an assessment of your current health, gives me a little guidance that helps me see a little bit about what's going on, how your body's functioning. I'll reach out to you personally, and we'll chat about it, and we'll see what it is that we can do to help you move into the direction where you're feeling as good as you want to feel, and you're reaching all of your health goals. Then, of course, Soulful Conception. It is on its way early next year. If you are looking to get pregnant, if it's next year, if it is 5 years down the road, I hope that you will reach out to me, ask me any questions, because this is my goal is for this to be a game changer for all of those who are looking to build their families, create their families, now, tomorrow, later, all of those. Know this too, that it also is for those who are currently struggling. I will have people involved in this program who are true experts in so many areas of fertility, of the fertility space, that it is going to be it's going to be so robust, and that's what I really want. I want it to be robust, I want it to be informative, I want it to be fun, I want it to be educational. So we will have experts in IVF, we'll have experts in hypnofertility, we'll have experts in epigenetics and food and detoxification, and all of these things that really matter to having a healthy pregnancy and creating healthy babies. So I hope you all have a beautiful, amazing, and very, very Merry Christmas. I plan to take next week off so I can focus on the business and focus on my year next year. So it'll be a repeat, but I hope that you have a beautiful Christmas, that you are with your family and loving on your family, whatever it is that you're celebrating. Love on your family. Have some fun. Take some time to be still. I hope that you really will take that to heart. Take some time to be still. Eat some good food. Maybe drink a little wine. I will probably have a little bit of wine. And I'm looking forward to it. So thank you. Reach out. Let me know if there's any way that I can be of service to you. And we will see you January 2023. Can't believe it. See y'all later.